Hey everyone, I hope your guys' week is going fantastic. It's pretty out today. It was like almost 55 or something today. That's awesome. I hope that everything's going amazing with school, and I know there's a lot of cool stuff going on, kind of strange, and I'm hoping you guys are doing all right, and I want you guys to remember that God loves you all the time. So if you remember that every day, you're going to be in great shape. So just keep that in mind, and I hope you guys are doing great. Okay, guys, the big idea this week. It's a really, really big idea this week. I think it's something we can all remember. Do you know at school sometimes when you're there and you see someone maybe bullied on the playground or being left out or somebody's kind of being mean to them, and inside you feel like you want to step up for that person. You want to kind of dig in and maybe go help them out, or even if you are the person who's bullied, I want you to remember that God is there for us in those moments when we're feeling down that way, when we're being bullied, or when it's hard for us to make the right choice, right? Even as Christians, sometimes people bully us for believing in God, because not everyone believes in God. So that can be a really hard thing. Somebody's like, hey, and you really want to believe in God. Just remember, God's going to be there for you in that, okay? And you can, kind of double down on that and maybe pray for that person to kind of find God. And maybe you're the person who helps that person find God, right? So we can always turn this stuff around with God, right? When He's with us, we can turn it around and we can show other people that the bullying's not okay, or that, that God's there for them. I think that's something we can remember this week. So that is the big idea this week, guys. So I want you guys to really dig in and listen to the video, and you guys join us today at Journey Today. They're going to talk about that better, and there's a really cool story in there this week, okay? Remember, when you're watching the video, take a minute when they say stop and take a look at it, right? They're going to mention the story today, and they're going to say take a minute and go read this, right? And there's some really cool stories, but this week's story is one of my favorite stories. So dig right into it, take a minute and read it, even if mom or dad aren't there or whoever, and you just want to sit there and watch it yourself. It's a pretty cool story, okay, guys? So let's join them, grab some popcorn, like I said in the past, and let's go to Journey Today.
Man, it feels like a furnace in here. Why is it so hot?
I may have turned up the heat in the studio.
Turned it up? How hot is it?
700 degrees.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Journey Today show. My name is Nick, and this is my friend Les. Thankfully, we got the heat turned down. I think I could actually smell myself cooking.
Dude.
What were you thinking?
I'm so
Why
sorry.
Why did you turn up the heat so much?
Dude, I'm so sorry. It was just, look, I got carried away. I was just trying to get us in the right mood for today's true Bible story. It's about some guys who got thrown into a furnace.
Okay. So you mean Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
Yes, those guys that are easy to pronounce. Yeah, it's an amazing story. You see, there was this king named Nebuchadnezzar who built this giant gold statue.
Okay, well, that doesn't look so giant to me.
Oh, no, okay, so no, it wasn't this small. It was way bigger than that. It was 90 feet tall, and that's the equivalent of a 9-story building. That is absolutely huge. And Nebuchadnezzar told everyone that they had to bow down and worship the statue, and if they didn't, they'd get thrown into the fiery furnace.
That's right, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would not bow down to anyone but God. And let's just say things got a little bit heated. You know what? I think we should really read what happens in the Bible. It's just a second. Press pause, open your Bible, and read the verses on the screen. And when you're finished, press play and join us again.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, I've heard of people standing up for God, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego actually stood up for God. Even though they were threatened with death, they refused to bow down and worship the gold statue.
Hey, you know what? That actually makes me think of a really good challenge. You up for something messy?
Oh, dude, do I have a choice?
All right, so here's the challenge today. It's going to be a little bit messy, right? But our job is to play tug of war and see who falls 3 times first, right? So the first person to fall 3 times loses, right?
Yeah.
And we've got our little slippery slope back here. Some soap, some water makes for a slippery slide, but essentially it's tug of war. You ready for this?
Yeah, I think my balance is a little better.
All right. We'll see.
Man, that was so slippery. I never imagined it would be so hard to stand up and stay standing.
Totally. But that's why we did that challenge. Sometimes it can be really hard to stand up for God. Fortunately for us, we don't get thrown into a fiery furnace for worshiping the one true God. But loving and following Jesus isn't always the popular thing to do. Sometimes people say that believing in God is weird. Sometimes people say that living life God's way is dumb and boring. Sometimes people try and get us to do things that break God's rules. When people say and do those things, we have to make a choice like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. We can either stay quiet or we can stand up for God like they did.
That's so true. But the awesome thing is that we're not alone. King Neb had 3 people thrown into the furnace, but do you remember how many people he saw walking around in the fire?
Yeah, there were 4.
That's right, 4. King Neb said that the 4th man looked like the son of the gods. Some people think it was an angel. Other people think that it was Jesus himself. Either way, God was standing right there with him. And when we suffer for doing what is right, he's with us too. More than that, God blesses us when we suffer for doing what's right and standing up for him. In fact, that's what our Bible verse for today tells us.
Matthew 5:10 says, "Blessed are those who suffer for doing what is right. The kingdom of heaven belongs to them." Hey, you know what? That actually reminds me of a question for everybody. If you were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what would you have done? Could you have stood up for God in that situation? Press pause.
And discuss. And here's another question. Have you ever heard anyone say mean things about God or the Bible? How do you think you could stand up for God in that situation? Press pause.
And discuss. When you suffer for doing what is right and stand up for God, God blesses you. That means he fills your heart with a deep happiness. But that's not all. When you stand up for Jesus, Jesus stands up for you. Someday, when you die, if you love and follow Jesus, Jesus will stand up for you and say, he or she is with me. You belong in heaven now. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Very well said. We'll catch you next week.
All right, so this week, you guys, we have a special guest like we do every week, right? We have Hendrik here today. He's going to help us out with stuff. As you see, he's wearing a mask. I'm wearing a mask. The reason we're wearing masks is we're using them to protect people, right? Hendrik, when you wear your mask, you're helping to protect me. And when I wear my mask, I'm helping to protect you. And I think that's a pretty cool thing, right? Because we're kind of like heroes because we're helping other people. And I think that's awesome. So, Hendrik, I noticed your mask is green and white, right? So did you watch the football game this weekend?
Yes.
Yes. So, who were you cheering for? Did you cheer for the green and white, or were you going for the blue and yellow? Oh, blue and yellow. Okay, so, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I'm all right with that. That's all right. They had a rough weekend, didn't they? They kind of, yeah, it was rough for them, you know. But next week, they play a different team, so they can always win, you know. And I'm not horribly upset that they lost, but, you know, it's just a game. So, and with everything going on, there wasn't a lot of fans because a lot of people with masks and stuff, right? It's an important time that we take care of other people. I think that's pretty awesome. Hendrik, I have a question for you. I heard that you have a guest here today to help read our memory verse. Do you have a guest here?
Yes.
Who is it? Who's going to be here with you?
Dad!
So I'm happy to be here with you today, buddy. A little upset about your comment about the cheering for the blue in the big game there. But hey, let's look at this week's verse from Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. You want to help me read it?
No.
Can you follow along with me since we're learning to read
Yes.
at home? All right. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You like that? All right. Muscle up like daddy. Let's go.
Okay, Hendrik, what should we do now? What do we need to do now?
Music.
Woo! I love it.
I'm running day after day. I'm living for the glory of your name, oh Jesus. I'm holding nothing back. I'm singing this joyful noise. I'm telling every one of your great love, oh Jesus. I'm holding nothing back. At the top of my lungs, I'm gonna sing. My heart is yours, yours, yours. Let this heart beat over you. Every breath, breathe, just speak your truth. With my days, I will praise you. My heart is yours, yours, yours. I'm living every heartbeat for you. Giving every heartbeat to you. Living every heartbeat for you. Giving every heartbeat to you. I'm running day after day. I'm living for the glory of your name, oh Jesus. I'm holding nothing back. Forever singing this joyful noise. I'm telling every one of your great love, oh Jesus. I'm holding nothing back. At the top of my lungs, I'm gonna sing. My heart is yours, yours, yours. Let this heart beat over you. Every breath, breathe, just speak your truth. With my days, I will praise you. My heart is yours, yours, yours. I'm living every heartbeat for you. Giving every heartbeat to you. Living every heartbeat for you. Giving every heartbeat to you. Shout to God with triumph, clap my hands in praise. Shout to God with triumph, clap my hands in praise. Lift my hands in surrender, jump for joy today. Lift my hands in surrender, jump for joy and say, let this heart beat over you. Every breath, breathe, just speak your truth. With my days, I will praise you. My heart is yours, yours, yours. Let this heart beat over you. Every breath, breathe, just speak your truth. With my days, I will praise you. My heart is yours, yours, yours. I'm living every heartbeat for you.
Okay, so Hendrik, I want to thank you guys for being here this week. This is pretty awesome. He has an amazing experiment to go with his dad this week. It's one of a kind. We haven't seen it before. I'm really excited to get to it. What do you think, Hendrik? Are you looking forward to it? Mm-hmm. Should we get to it?
Yes.
All right, let's get to the experiment, guys. So, Hendrik, what do we have here? What's going on here? Who are these guys?
Ryan, Gus, and Alpha Alexa.
Awesome. So, what is this? What is this big saucer-looking spaceship thing? What is that thing?
A vacuum.
That's a vacuum? That's crazy. So, what are we gonna do? What's our experiment today? What's gonna happen?
We're gonna try to keep these balanced. And if they don't, we're gonna use some extra help with tape.
Oh, so cool. So by balancing, you're saying they're doing it on their own, right? So they could fall off, and if they fall off, the tape will help to hold them on. It's kind of like with God, sort of, right? When sometimes we're losing like the direction we're going, sometimes we got to look for some help. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? So that's pretty neat. Well, I say let's get to the experiment then. That's awesome.
First thing we're gonna do is turn on the vacuum.
Go ahead.
That one made it. That's one's making it. That one's making it.
Oh, gosh.
Wow. We're gonna do a competition. I have Ryan.
I have Alpha Alexa. And I have Gus. Last one to fall off wins. First one to fall off has to do 5 push-ups. Okay, tough competition. The 2 older dudes, we didn't do great, so it looks like me and Steph are gonna end up hooking up with the 5 push-ups. All right. Are you going buckles? No, I'm just going straight up. Ready? Go. Okay. I think that's pretty good. So, awesome. One more time, I want to thank Stefan and Hendrik for being here. Matt's gone. Thanks, guys, for being here. This is awesome. I love your experiment, too. And I think I might have to get one of those little vacuums because that thing's sweet. So, you guys have a great week.
Thanks for having us.
Stay safe. Remember, Zoom meeting, 6:30, Wednesday.